Okay, I'm going to take you through the process now of taking your data, coded data, out of Excel and into SPSS. So you can see in front of you here, we've a copy of the answers to the questionnaire, and they've all been coded up. So they've been given a numerical value to enable us to represent them within SPSS and analyse them in an effective way. So with the Excel sheet open here, and then we're going to open up SPSS. So we can find the icon and click on the icon, and SPSS will open. And the first thing we're going to do is just cancel this first box, because we don't want to open an existing data source, we want to create a new one, so we can cancel that. Now the data view here is where you're going to input your data. There's lots of video guidance on YouTube for how to complete this, so we'll go through it reasonably quickly. But the first thing you're going to do before you can put any data in is set your variables up, which are along the rows here, and then each of your cases are down, in the rows, and your variables are on the columns at the top. If we go to the variable view, this is where we can set up each of the variables that you can input. So the first variable we're going to have within this is gender. So we can just call it Q1 and gender. And now it will create the rest of the things here. So it's going to be numeric data, or considered as numeric data in this context. There don't want to be any decimal places to it. The label, we can just call it, we can either call it by the question itself or just something else, so we'll just call this gender for now. And the values, so we've got two values. One is female, and we can attribute that to value 1, and then we can add it here. So wait a minute, let's go the other way around, and the label, sorry. There you go. So that's the label, and this is the value. So the label is what comes from the questionnaire, and the value is what we're attributing to it, so it can be analysed within SPSS effectively, and we can add that. And the next one we've got is 2, and that'll be male. So that's gender set up in along this row here, and then we just need to check the measure, and it isn't scale data, it isn't ordinal data. Within this context, it's nominal data. Okay, so it has no rank to it, it has no order to it, it's not from continuous scale, it's nominal data. The next piece of data that we've got from our questionnaire is question 2, and that is age. Again, it's numeric, there are going to be no decimal places to this, and the label can just be age. The values in this instance need to be input as well. So the values are going to be number 1, and that is going to be 15 to 24. Value 2 is going to be 25 to 34, and so on as we go through these values. So now we have all the values input into here. Now were we taking age just individually, taking their age, this might be scale data, but because we've grouped them, it's ordinal data. There is a ranking to it, as in you can add the ages going up. It could be considered to be nominal data because it's a group, but we'll classify it as ordinal data in this instance. And then question 3, which is internet use, or years using the internet. Okay, and again, it's going to be numeric data, we're going to have no decimals within it, and we can give it just a brief title here, just so remember that, and the values for this. So again, we're going to have to attribute values to our different classifications. So we've got 1, and that was less than 6 months. Let's try that again. Trying to save time, or it's not working. So we've got value 1, and it's less than 6 months. And then we've got value 2, which is between 6 to 12 months, and so on. Value 3, like that, so it's greater than 7 years. Doesn't seem to like that. Maybe it's because of the value I'm trying to put in. So we hit 5 again, and I'll just try that one more time. This time we'll put over 7 years. It doesn't seem to like that value at all. Ah, that's why. I see. I'm hitting the wrong thing. Okay, so we just need to add that, and then we have it. It's not going to cancel it now. And again, this is ordinal data. There's a ranking to it, but it's not on a continuous scale, so it's groupings. And then we have question 4, and that is average browsing time. And I know what happened there. Just clear those, take the decimals down again, and it is average times online to browse for fashion. And then again we can add the values. So this really is just a reminder of what the question was, and then we can add the values here again. So this is the coding process, better to do before you begin this and indicate, understand exactly what code's going to be attributed to what. So once we've input all of these, and we can say OK, and again this is ordinal data, and these are our first 4 major classifiers. We've then got question 5, and that is broken down into 3 sub-questions. So question 5A, question 5B, and question 5C. And you can input into here the exact question that it might be. So one way of doing that is to go back to the question itself, and we can see here this is 5A, and we could just take this part of it here and just copy that through and drop it in there. So each of these has the question, and that way when you come to doing the analysis of the data you don't get confused or lost within it as to what links to what. So you can just copy this, copy, go to the SPSS page, click in and paste that. Now all of this is ordinal data because it's from the Likert or Likert scale, for you want to pronounce it, and this time we're going to add values in. So we're going to rank each of these. So the first value is going to be 1, and that's going to accord with a strongly agree. Can add that, and then we've got 2, which is agree, 3, which is slightly. Apologies, I've got these the wrong way around. Should you do this, you can just remove them, and we'll start again. I apologise. We've got 1, and that is strongly disagree, and then 2, which is disagree, 3, which is slightly disagree, and 4, which is no opinion. And then we go up 5, which is slightly agree, try that one again, 5, which is slightly agree, and 6, which is agree, 7, which is strongly agree, and in the context of this we're going to add 8, which is no response. Because looking back at the data within Excel, you can see a couple of gaps where no response was given, and so therefore we need to flag that option as well. And we can say OK, cancel that, we can add 8, and there we go. Say OK to that, and we can remove the decimals from here. And then we can just take these classifications, and we can copy these and paste them in, so that each of these have the same, because they're from the same sort of scale. And we can continue to do this for question 6 and question 7, which I'll just do now. And then again we can go through and pick up the questions from each of those. So that's question 5A, B and C, question 6A. Okay, so now we have all of our variables set up for this particular set of data here. We can go through to the data view, and you can see we have along the rows across the top here for each of the columns going down, we have the different variables that we're going to input the things against, and then we have the number of cases running down here. So the simplest way to do this, if we have it coded up in Excel, is to go to Excel itself, pick the data, copy it, go to SPSS and paste the data in, and there we end up with our 33 records broken by the coding for gender. And we can do this with each of the variables that we've coded up, and just copy and paste them in. So I'm just using Control C and Control V from the keyboard, so Control C to copy and Control V to paste. You need to make sure you capture every record as well. Try not to leave any behind. Then you may find it easier just to get rid of those, pick up the blocks of coding like this, and then paste them in, and that way you get all your coding in. Okay, so now we've finished with this Excel sheet, and we can close it down because we've got all our data into SPSS. And this is the stage that we've got to with this particular video, and then we'll look at the other things through a number of other videos that are there, or that I'll create for you, should I say.